Appleton.
Yeah. It's the Appleton radio show. Ryan Augustus, JTB, doing it once again. It's Wednesday, bringing you guys some live-made hip-hop. The place to be.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of things going on tonight.
I think we just had a system hiccup, but it still means it's going to be a good night in Appleton Radio Land for the 207 hip-hop heads and beyond, man.
Yeah, definitely. And as always, we're here pre-gaming for Rap Night. Tonight is a special event at Rap Night. It is Fuck Computers 5, hosted by Ill by Instinct and El Chupacabra. And you guys know what that means. Hardware, drum machines, people coming through, playing beats all night long, MCs ciphering in the crowd, enjoying the production played, and whole list of people: Altered G, Don Dami, Artex, Duke, Moonrocks, Dynamo P. Obviously, Shoop will be rocking, Jay Karen, as well as a vinyl set from El Chupacabra to kick everything off. So definitely want to make sure you guys come out, your fix of drum machines.
Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous. The fifth annual, or biannual, or weekly, or monthly, but they're going to blow the place up. I put on Twitter, if you want to hear some bangers, go to Rap Night tonight, because I think that's what it's going to be about, and a lot more than that, too.
Yeah, definite. And in the background, we're playing some Channing Day instrumentals. He just released a beat tape, so we wanted to give him some shouts and play a couple beats from him, so you may hear a couple more throughout the show.
You never know.
And tonight's a special night. We got Alias in the house. We're going to be talking with him, going over a lot of old main hip-hop factoids and, hearing about what he's been up to and what's going on as of late. So definitely stay tuned for that. And to start the show off, seeing as it's Fuck Computers, we're going to get into an instrumental from Alias himself. This is brand new, 2012, not released. This is Miss Night, the Appleton radio show. New music for y'all. Stay tuned.
Appleton. Rap Night.
Manic Mondays is going down. Look for it, JKE.
Ryan Augustus. Scud Missile. Yeah. Dynamo P. What? JKE.
Appleton.
Mondays are manic. Some days I panic cause it doesn't pan out just the way that I had planned it. God damn it, I feel stranded when I can't make a beverage out the lemons I've been handed. Granted, I still gave it a try. Easy peas, but when I squeezed the juice sprayed in my eye. So I was sour, very salty just to say the least. I broke down the damn stand and threw my hand up. It's time to branch out for me, to be where I wanna be. My tendencies would keep residency in lemon trees. Instead of these bruised fruits I've been hanging around, I started from the ground up, revamping my sound, ready to speak. Feel accomplished at the end of the week, and celebrate out the gate with words blending to beats. Hashtag Manic Monday, see it trending in tweets. To the heavens, 207 elite.
Hashtag double M Manic. Leave Portland, Maine in a state of frantic. Crew deep rooted, so much talent you can't stand it. Make a weak rapper panic. Hashtag double M Manic.
Spontaneous, a full radius of ill. I kill at will, I build until my eyes bleed. I Tai Chi, push it along. A bushel of songs, the kush is all gone. Until the re-up, 3 cups of blood, boy. Scuds deploy, destroy half of your block. Keep passing the rock, I'm blasting your flock with factual talk. The tactical Mach 1 traveling, the speed of a javelin. With weed in my abdomen, jabbering, jibber jaw. Who's mastered the flicker flaw from start to finish. This art looks so unfinished. Replenished with spinach, this medicine is my fetish. That's why I'm looking so reddish. Counting lettuce and splitting melons, no felons, just a mystery cleaner. 2 shots for all misdemeanors and new heaters stuffed under the mattress. Manic Monday, semi-automatic. Rap schematics, heavy on the accents. No hat tricks, listen to the cactus.
Hashtag double M Manic. Leave Portland, Maine in a state of frantic. Crew deep rooted, so much talent you can't stand it. Make a weak rapper panic. Hashtag double M Manic.
Yo, because we have Alias in the building, we dug a little extra deep. Here's some J.D. Walker, Broken with KGB. It was produced by Alias, and it's off that Bleed the Reservoir disc. Look into it.
From my reflection in the glass, plummeting, wondering why I'm not dropping fast. But all that I can see, I base my concentration on, is all that has gone wrong, and it's a lifelong story. You explore me, uncover what began to be unraveled. Now that I'm left tangled, you wouldn't help me get a handle on myself, so I'm straight off yet another beaten path. That's more beneath the looking glass of what you fuckers gathered. It doesn't matter if you understand me, it won't help me now. My ego has grown fragile, my broken past can't show me how or where to direct my anger. Overbearing, I start caring about the finer things in life, like a child or a loving wife, or a 2-car garage. The mirage of living lovely. Apparently I'm feeling sorry for myself. Somebody hug me and lie to me, repeating that everything will be okay. Tomorrow's a new day and everything's gonna go my way. Fragile ego, broken past. Fragile ego, broken past. Fragile ego, broken past. Fragile ego, broken past.
Appleton.
Carefully examine every detail. Find myself a new light, new tunnel, set forth and prevail. Prescribe me a new drug, cause this one's got my brain frail. Find another skin, set sail. Someone pulled the plug in my tub and I'm going nowhere now. There's a light on the other side of this porcelain coliseum. There's a market out there for everything I've ever done. This is a self-help piece for broken organisms. I'm a big supporter of destructive, unhealthy living. We are all figurines in a beautiful menagerie of glass. Fragile ego, broken past. Fragile ego, broken past. Fragile ego.
short of my final destination. My grand finale will be nothing less than devastation. The finishing touch of what was said to be self-destruction. People always like to talk, but to me those words meant nothing. Little value it had, like life to these poor excuses for humans. Vital feelings spilling on vital floors, creating a need for teething. We all go back to the beginning simply to retrace our steps, to see where it was we slipped up instead of waiting for what's next. And what was next left me with that not so fresh feeling, revealing an unsaid truth rather unappealing for most of you whom know nothing of pain. The rain is constantly continuing, ruining my day. All I can say is that I failed, and my crossroads are four dead ends in a vagrant grocery store. I'm on all fours, picking my ego up from off the floor. I wanna head home, it's getting dark and turning cold, but everywhere I look all I can see is endless roads. This fragile ego, broken past. Fragile ego, broken past.
Our sleep and reflect on our dreams. Lost thoughts and blind vision of what always should have been. A stream of subconscious decision that left me out of the reasoning process. Stress and regrets, slowly drifting, bounded and gagged. Escapism is bondage. My word is playing with the inherent acceptance of mediocrity. But let us stand proud in our beautiful menagerie of glass. Fragile ego, broken past. Fragile ego, broken past. Fragile ego, broken past. Fragile ego, broken past. I'm constantly reminded of the path I carved in stone.
Judging by the look on my face, how can I explain this mess?
Still consistent in the continuance of the way I cling to home.
Not worshiping on Sunday is my way to object your test.
Standing on the edge of receding water shore.
I can pass it on to them, but in the end it comes back to me.
Glaring in the eye of what will be forevermore.
So let this be fair warning to whomever comes after me.
I'm constantly reminded of the path I carved in stone.
Judging by the look on my face, how can I explain this mess?
Still consistent in the continuance of the way I cling to home.
Not worshiping on Sunday is my way to object your test.
Standing on the edge of receding water shore.
I can pass it on to them, but in the end it comes back to me.
Glaring in the eye of what will be forevermore.
So let this be fair warning to whomever comes after me.
Appleton. Yeah. Classic. J.D. Walker, Broken with KGB, produced by Alias. We're going to go ahead and move into a joint by Grant Street Orchestra. They got a show coming up this Friday night at the Big Easy with the Dr. Doom Orchestra from Massachusetts. They've been up here multiple times. Always put on a good show. $5 at the Big Easy this Friday, March 16th. Go out and see them. We're going to go ahead and get down with a little Joaquin Phoenix.
It's one of my favorites, man, from GSO. Let's do it.
Appleton. Appleton.
I do the Joaquin Phoenix, you do the lock and ride, and I be rocking Phoenix, and you be looking fly. I take that pathless scenic and put it in the cut. So come and break some bread with the orchestra. Yeah, I know your band with that tiny sound. Your license got me standing outside the round. Come and see us rock. It's like going to the pound. You bring all your dogs, I'll put those fuckers down. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can starve in the background. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can starve in the background. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can starve in the background. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can starve in the background.
I do the Frank Sinatra, this is my rat pack. I rock
rock a gray fedora and a suit to match. I smoke too much tobacco, but that's okay with me. I'm like a pesticide, y'all cats are bumblebees. I know these other dudes thinking they're on top. All I have to do is to make their pressure drop. We make y'all feel nice, so y'all can dance good. We're bringing soul and starting parties in your neighborhood. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can't starve in the background. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can't starve in the background. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can't starve in the background. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can starve in the background. I'm known to break the silence and then build up a crowd. This might be getting violent and we be getting loud. We got that bad religion and I'm the minister. We making bad decisions and getting sinister. Cause I'll be back in heat with an implement and I'll leave you behind if you can't take a hint. We can't bring that funk in, we can't take you higher. You be craving more, I'll check with my supplier. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can starve in the background. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can starve in the background. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can starve in the background. If you can't beat up the breakdown, then you can starve in the background.
Everybody give Grand Street Orchestra a little more love. Show 'em, feel it.
Yo, what up? It's El
Let it ring
Chupacabra.
through
You're
their
listening to
souls.
Appleton Radio.
Appleton.
Was on Mohegan Island talking to a group of young ladies. I overheard some of the conversation and recorded it. You girls can talk till doomsday, telling me about the things you want to paint and write. While I would intrude his spirit's dusty solitude, and I don't suppose the most upstanding girl that rusticates round here could make him budge. steamboat Portland went down, and the whole 250 people on board were lost.
sailing a little south of the Plata on one very dark night, the sea presented a wonderful and most beautiful spectacle. There was a fresh breeze, and every part of the surface, which during the day is seen as foam, now glowed with a pale light. The vessel drove before her bows billows of liquid.
With a hard hat, at work watching the clock, or at the bar with a shot glass. Play this song on blast. We got the contrast from obnoxious cat to conscious rap. Crossed the tracks to the wrong side, then wandered back alongside my brothers in arms. Despite attacks from the broadside, we fought hard and tried and tried. You chumps only rap to be the object of a broad's eyes. To do that, all I have to do is walk outside. I'm just talking jive, you don't wanna see my cocky side. It took some talented fools to make this song, and if you don't think so, whatever dude, you're wrong. If I wasn't doing this, I'd be a doctor or a lawyer. Instead of sacrificing my life to do what I enjoy, it's all in how you call it. Whether you're a loser at a community college or a cougar married to a wallet. Who's the rock and rock this? If you got beef, then squash it. If you love music, what are you doing? Get up in the mosh pit. If not this, it's inferior. Her posterior meets my criteria, so I'ma sing this song here for her. Buy a beer and then exit the exterior, just to steer clear of her. I got spliffs to smoke. These kids are jokes, all saying the same shit like pinch and poke. P.S. I'm no longer here if you get this note.
Appleton.
I understand that you are one of the biggest buyers along the coast of Maine.
I believe that is what my reputation is. And may I say, madam, that you are one of the most beautiful ladies I have ever seen.
Thank the Lord servants for being so loyal. Soon they'll be happy and very safe. If not set off like a pigeon with his head cut off. If it wasn't for the guillotine, there'd be no umbilical cord. Isn't it pitiful? At a pinnacle, they make it sound so Pinocchio. That's how I know it's so dumb it could even write its own article. Give me a break, break your back. Keep my fingers hold to the same to laugh again. Or rack them, put the cold back in my eyes again. And away from the fire that burns out of love to take its toll out of me. For good luck is always keeping minutes. Gotta stay play, don't put out a toe. The machine needs warm bodies. Fuck the button, we still got scrolls. If this time to muddy the hand, then this time to stuck to the top of the blood of the leg of the land. Running off at every relatives with red, white, blue Christmas lights. In the greatest kingdom, I say the crop, but I'm a lousy meal, lousy liar. Hooked so many bad actresses. Not enough stimuli left sliding out in the pilot. So how can I not be negative? My own cliche, my woodly peers, my caught up in images, speaking the truth. That's the only truth you can come up with. Go fake some bravery, like the weather come riding in the human louder. You would never give it this, I'm still sick. Can hate the sky, think it's gray. But that home that we live on every day. 20 minutes outside the city, go 15 years from over the hill with enough from the Gilroy zone. Fry, you all gonna fry with me. It must be, you all gonna fry with me. It must be, you all gonna fry with me. It must be, you all gonna fry with me. It must be, you all gonna fry with me. It must be, you all gonna fry with me. It must be, you all gonna fry with me. It must be, you all gonna fry with me. It must be, you all gonna fry with me. rise and raise, you're a champion now. They made them out of citizens, how to get children. Never person who broke the double-lessness, so separated. Get drugged up to nowhere land, even love feels out of faith and happiness, my loaded pistol. In his 20s and a better socialist in the kind of out of gold mine. 2000 something at the depth, wrapped up the message is also ethno-specific and opinionated. Divided we take our hits out the presence to make up a moment that the dolphins die. Who's gonna save humans? There's a million cities and they're all the same. People laugh and talk the same. Girls all fuck the same. Employees all dream the same. Love your credit in your comfort zone. Look out for the white girl suicide bomber. Look out for your time and your beast so minor. Entertainment of all this grade level. Say ignorant and easily correct. Serving for both of a drunk love half measures. Taxing the teeth of the cash system. Living it up so I stand for types. I know nothing but at least I know all they go green and drink their espresso. Disgusting film festivals. On the rider, up with your head. Money loves a dirty work, can't get y'all, but it'll never love you like an automobile. Citizens, peoples, and angels hang the same on the mobile. If it wasn't for the blindfold, you'd ask, what am I looking for, living for, breathing for? Who's them, not I, but it must be the plutonium in me. 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 It must be the plutonium in me.
Appleton.
We'll wait for them.
What do you mean? No, I ain't waiting for no one. You know? Let them swords fly. Let them swords fly. Yo. Right. Yo, I'm back home in my backyard, the backwoods where I used to get stoned off of that good. Found these old poems hidden in the back room along with Nate's keys on the counter of the bathroom. But I ain't trying to backtrack to something like backwards, cause that track was just too absurd. I haven't heard back from that chick that got scared. I guess my life deterred her from ever trying to get in touch with me. But I ain't waiting for a call. She shuffles the guys like my tracks on a ride pod. It's like my frequencies are never GS. So when you hear it, you get weak in your knees and your chest. Too many things to digest. I think you need to digress and slow down. But not me, I never need a rest. Always hold out, this I mean to the test. The beat is from Jeff, but there's no need to repeat tracks. Just keep the weed going left and continue to drink paps. I think past the cheap thrills, this ain't meek meals. Bridging gaps like Tristan with escape wheels. So get real like I do with the word. Doobie's a verb, I smoke rolled in Cuban cigars, no joke. Let them swords fly. Shit is over, Jeff. Word.
Yo, this is Flopez, and you're listening to Appleton Radio. Hey!
Appleton Radio, fucker.
Yeah, it's for real this time, man. EA all day. Ha-ha. The pedal's floored. And all of y'all are aboard the rhythm ride we provide, getting live, setting off, strap in, stay attentive as we're slamming the sound, adrenaline, heart thumps as hard as the drums pound.
Hold up.
Man, hold up for what?
Because you're killing. War killing.
Am I tearing it up? Should I keep kicking?
Bring it back.
Bring it back. The pedal's floored. And all of y'all are aboard the rhythm ride we provide, getting live, setting off, strap in, stay attentive as we're slamming the sound, adrenaline, heart thumps as hard as the drums pound, dumbing out, so there ain't no need to dumb it down. The beat bangs with the swang to strangle the underground. And beyond the above ground, substitute drugs and thugs with love, so what now? I plow through competition like enemy through snow. You swing sweet on a chariot slow. The narrator with flow couldn't care about a hater. I know if you show any attention, they'll be hating some more. So I'ma go on with mine and hopefully redefine what you find in the hip-hop section. And never mind the my money, my ice, my caution every time. And go back to the passionate thoughts and clever rhymes.
Cause we some big-time players that have still yet to step into prime, developing another skill set. With every design, we steady build strength. The bullshit, we leave it behind. Conduct a field test to see if you can feel it inside.
Hold up.
Man, hold up for what? Because you're killing it.
You are killing it.
Am I tearing it up? Well, true that.
True that.
For sure.
Bring it back.
from the top once more.
Yo, we some big time players that have still yet to step in the prime, developing another skill set with every design. We steady build strength, the bullshit we leave it behind. Conducting field tests to see if you can feel it inside. I take pride in my show and pride in deliverance. Pronounce my style properly to make sure that you're hearing it, feeling it, loving the sound. They say these young men are killing it, they're putting it down. You see, we trying to see the globalist rotating on its axis. Rock shows collect dough at each location on the Atlas. Don't need the major label hype for fans to wanna back us, cause to get to where we're going, all we need is time and practice. At last it's well-schooled cats with skills who pack a flurry of tracks that we stacked up in the ville.
It's all real
as we're taking control and try to stimulate the mind, body and soul.
So here we go on a path to ripping shows, raising stats and hitting goals. And I know we gotta pack and hit the road. Control on destiny, my focus been ahead of me. Better in myself before my flaws get the best of me. Man, hold up for what?
You're killing it.
Am I tearing it up?
True that.
Should I keep kicking?
For sure.
From the top once more. So here we go on a path to rip the shows, raising stats and hitting goals. And I know we gotta pack and hit the road. Control our destiny, my focus been ahead of me. Better in myself before my flaws get the best of me. Influenced heavily by soul and my jazz. Use syllables as percussion, brushing flows on my pad. I know I have what I need to succeed and believe it's a big world that I've been eager to see. So leave it to me, y'all, it's time to show up. Focused on getting some dough that I can fold up, not only for the cash, but I have to say, I wanna rap every day, but I got bills to pay. So I stay and juggle what I have in a clutch, and I'm stuck between peace of mind and having some bucks. Such is life, say la vie is the truth. Do what I do, down brewing pen pages on stoops. So hold up.
Yeah. It's the Appleton Radio Show. JTB, Ryan Augustus, every Wednesday night. That was Educated Advocates Hold Up.
Before that, we had a brand new joint from Juan Armin. That's Will Wait. Also had the joint from Soul, which was an Alias remix.
Plutonium. We'll maybe talk about that in a second.
Definitely.
Before that, Ill by Instinct, Bring Back the Love, featuring Christina Contagion off of Second Win. We talked about that last week. And then we had some instrumental stuff going on from El Chupacabra and Mike B presents
Acoustic Overtones?
Acoustic Overtones, sure
Definitely.
will. So, yeah.
Great project. All kinds of new music, blended it with some old music.
Appleton.
And we're happy to say that not only do we have Ill by Instinct and Nate Shoop in the house to help us out, Jay Jack over in the corner as well, but the homie Alias is in the house tonight.
What's going on?
Definitely, man. Real happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, Appleton Radio, the whole point is to be able to show people that are into main hip-hop now what main hip-hop had going on back then. And just fill people in kind of on yourself and your position around here from when you started and where you came from around here.
I grew up in Hollis, Maine. How far back you want me to go?
Well, just around when you started making music around here.
So the day I was born,
the legend.
So I grew up in Hollis, Maine. Met DJ Mayonnaise in high school, like earth science class, freshman year.
No doubt.
And he and I started kind of like bonding over like hip hop and R&B stuff, and he had a turntable, and so we would like scratch. I can't even like some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle soundtrack record.
No doubt.
That's where it all starts.
Nice.
Cartoons.
But yeah, so he and I, like, I would write raps, and he would kind of DJ, and then in like '93 I met Soul and Mood Swing 9 and KGB, JD Walker, and they had all been doing stuff together as Northern Exposure.
Yep.
And so yeah, so I kind of just started kicking it with them, and eventually Mood Swing 9, like I kept bothering him to make me beats, and he was too busy with college, and and so finally he was like, one day he's like, all right, just come over here one day and I'll teach you how to use my MPC 3000. I'll teach you how to use my ADAT, and so from that point on, like, I just started kind of making my own music and making beats for myself, making beats for Soul. And then we started kind of doing posse songs together in like 95 and 96 and just really kind of, I don't know, crewing it up.
So yeah, some of those tracks that you sent in that we've played over the past couple weeks as you've been sending it in, so our listeners probably are familiar with some of those that we've been getting in.
Yeah, I got some questionable lyrics on there, but it was 1995. What do you expect?
I mean, and the best thing about it is that's as far back as the Appleton Radio Vaults go, pretty much. Is that those type of tracks are setting the new standard, like when you send them in, as far back as we go. So
Excellent.
we really appreciate that too, man.
Good.
Yeah, of course. And so, basically off of your placement with 45 Below and you guys all working collaboratively, we've been playing a lot of that, as he has said. So it's good that we're able to show that now, and now you're here to talk with us about that. And just tell us a little bit about what main hip hop was back then compared to what it is now, as far as like
man, in comparison to what it is now, it's night and day. Like back then there was only a few outlets where you could, like, if you were rapping or doing hip hop, that you could go to an open mic or like there was a spot, I think it's where Big Easy is now, called Granny Killian's or something. And
Granny Killian's, yep.
They had like a live band that would play beats and you could like rap over that. But they only did that every once in a while.
Right.
And before, I would say like in the late 90s, things started picking up a little bit, but I moved to California in 99, and when I came back in 2001, it had already like kind of exploded, like as far as like there actually being an audience here for people that would pay to go to a show. And,
right.
And
that was Stone Coast that you played at when you came back in 01, right?
Yeah, actually 01 was at the Skinny.
Oh, okay.
And then later on in 01 was at Stone Coast. So
nice.
So yeah, it's night and day now, man. Like people are way more like, I mean, and it's also because of Rap Night and you guys doing this. I think it's like kind of have created this like outlet for people who want to rap.
Right.
You've given them like an opportunity to do that and perform. So it's, I mean, there just wasn't people back then that like really loved what they were doing. I think,
right.
Like there wasn't as many people that were into hip hop. So, but now it's like, I don't know. If you were to go back then, you'd be pretty bummed. You'd probably go home and watch Blossom. Or
well, yeah. No, I mean, from my point of view, obviously from hearing all this stuff, hip hop was in much more of a raw, new feel, especially from around here. I mean, they say that we're 5 years behind the times anyway, so 95 is about right. You know what I mean? Like, but no, I'd like to be able to see what it was like back then.
Yeah, definitely. So you said you moved to Oakland in 99?
Yeah.
Like, what prompted that? Was it music specifically, or?
Well, the biggest motivator was in 98. I went to Minneapolis and I had started talking to, I'll bring it back to where things started getting serious for me as far as music goes. So I'd been doing beats for Soul and performing with him, and then in 98, we got flown to our first show in Memphis, and we were opening for Mr. Dibbs.
Oh, wow.
And so we met Mr. Dibbs, and we knew all about him, and we gave him our music, and he was like, oh, I got this dude who also does music in Cincinnati that I do music with. His name's Dose, and he knows you guys. He wanted me to give you this music, so he gave us a tape, which ended up being this album called Hemispheres. That's like his first album that everybody like started bugging out about over him because he just had such a completely different style.
Yeah.
So Soul and Dose started talking about doing some songs together, and at the same time, Soul had been talking to Slug from Atmosphere about doing some songs together, and while they were each talking to each other separately, they were like, oh, well, Slug was like, oh, I've been talking to Dose about doing stuff together too. And so they all realized that they were talking about collaborating together, and so they talked about doing something with the three of them. And then Soul was like, well, I got this dude who makes beats for me, and he raps too, and he's dope. So would you guys be cool if he joined in on this? And they were like, yeah, sure. And so that started this thing that ended up being called Deep Puddle Dynamics, which was Soul, Dose, Slug from Atmosphere, and me.
Yep.
And that was like the start of, like, I went out to Minneapolis and we recorded that album. We recorded 8 songs in like 10 days. And then we went back to Chicago in the summer of '99 and recorded 4 more songs. So we had that album ready to go basically in '99. And but that was like when I first got back from that first trip to Minneapolis, and I had that I had one song that I left there with. I didn't leave with all of the songs, and I kept bugging Slug to send me the rest of the songs, and he finally sent me this tape. And I was working my day job, and I came back and opened up my mailbox, and there was this package from Slug that had all of the songs with like a rough mix of this Deep Puddle Dynamics album. And so my wife and I got in the car, and we were going to go to her mom's house that night for dinner or something. We started driving there, and I started listening to the songs, and I'd had this like time to like separate myself from it. So it was like kind of listening with a fresh perspective. And it was like, I was just like, I can't, like, I started realizing that being around those dudes pushed me to want to push myself more, you know, like it really opened up something in me.
Yeah.
And so Soul had already moved out to the Bay Area, and as soon as I listened to those, I was like, I turned to my wife and I was like, we got to move to the Bay Area. We gotta be around people that are on this vibe. And so Dose and a bunch of the other dudes from Anticon all started talking about moving out there. And so I went to Chicago and did those last 4 Deep Puddle Dynamics songs in June of '99, and then in August of '99 we moved out there, and it was all because of that. Like, just wanted to start really focusing on that, because I had never felt that way or something when I had finished a song or something.
Right. So it made you just take it more serious.
Yeah.
And you wanted to be out there with everybody that's creatively putting things down on the West Coast.
I just realized that I needed to be around, because I was with DJ Mayonnaise, and he and I had started making beats together, but him too, like because he moved out the same time I did.
Yep.
And I think both of us were just like, we got to be around these dudes so we can start taking music more seriously, because it's paying off to be around them. So
that's awesome, man. And I think
it's obviously perfect to play a Deep Puddle Dynamics track, the one that you sent in called I Am Hip Hop. So anything else you want to maybe say about this track before we get into it?
So for the Deep Puddle album, we started, like, when we first decided that we were going to do an album together, we were like, all right, we should do, each song should have like a different story, or like we should talk about different things or whatever. And so this song is about, it's about someone getting stabbed in a club, and it's from 4 different people's perspectives of it. And so there's a person on stage, there's a person who does the stabbing, there's a person who gets stabbed, and there's a person who is just out, like, and just witnesses it. So that's basically what this is all about.
Dope. All right, well, we're going to get into it further, but let's check it out. I Am Hip Hop, Deep Puddle Dynamics, Appleton Radio.
Well, it's 7:45, oh yeah. We'll see who's the bigger man. Other than dead men walking 4 p.m. I heard a dead man talking. He said it's inconsequential. Forget it. It's nonsense. I'll always get into Harlanville with this knife. Get away. I don't want to fight you with drink, but get a piss in your pride, little girl. You stepped in your feet. You want to eat that dirty white hat? What you looking at? Bartender, tender me some sex on the beat before I reach out. And an impediment, your speech. Once I get him in my reach, unprecedented impeach. He saw the cross stairs illuminated by disco lights. Unseen, unspoken, in a scene of provoking, a thought-provoking scene. In a smoke scene, interrupted by intermittent disco lights. Ain't nobody dancing, ain't no music, everybody's still. I can only see one man, he looks good enough to kill. So much muscle my way through bustles of imposers. 10:32, 10 feet away, 5 fingers surrounded an object of intrusion. I don't need to see his eyes, a fearless jacket, then a shirt, then a skin, then his kidneys, then out. Then blood, then blood, then blood, then neck, then blood, then blood, then blood. Chest, then I see his girl washing over him like she's gonna cry his little ass back to life. This is my only way I know, so I must remove the knife. We eye to eye now, goodbye to his life. Well, I told you I would get my $5 back tonight.
Another night, another dollar, another crowd I've enlisted to make house. Another I really wish this crowd was just a little bit larger. Excuse me, Mr. Promoter, could I bother you for a couple of bottles of premiums placed on the stage for me and my brethren? You know beverages, intoxication, balance and leverage. Guessing this is that point where I grab the mic and make my point, kick my flow, make him say ho, blow the lid off the joint at him. Blah 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 blah. And then they befriended. I love it when this situation happens. This the type of crowd that builds self-esteem. Come 10:30 was when I finally felt that steam. Yo, what the fuck's going on over here? Yo, on the fuck down, calm that shit down. Hey, yo, shut down. Yo, check, yo, get off, what the fuck, yo, get off. I shed another blood, you knew I would. I feel you should adapt, can't run forever. Trapped, that stepped up to shed another blood, you knew I would. I feel you should adapt, can't run forever. Trapped, that stepped up to.
Sorry, just alcohol.
Thanks anyhow, it's just been one of those days. Alcohol only, how could you not sell fucking cigarettes at a bar? Excuse me, I wonder where those two wild women are. I've gotten off, 1 minute they're all ears and big eyes, and they're wandering off to bark up the next man's tree. Thank you, Jesus Christ, this place is... Now that's a foxy young lady. If she'd only put some clothes on. Enough, I'll stay put and just vend in the meat market. Who are these? That shit's pretty dope, but I can hardly hear his vocals and the bass is too loud. Actually, this kid's nasty. Too bad I can't hear the words. Damn, like he couldn't have just walked past. Oh, and the stare too. See, everybody wants to show you how big they are and how little they think. I'll be if it is. That's that chick Jim was trying to get on. She's high, man, it's hot as balls in here. Why'd I wear this? He's got a knife, it's that blood. He's, oh my God, I've never been this. That's blood. He's dying. Somebody,
Oh my God, twisting and turning. What's that sensation of burning? You need to just witness some spoken words, but now I'm learning that I can't step into the outer limits of my abode without kids acting hard and staring, glaring. Yes, I'm in the daring mode. My girl debated me going out at this nocturnal time. She said that I should just chill, stay in the house and ride around. I disagreed and ventured out, totally against all of her wishes. Stated that if I went to this particular venue, I'd later be needing stitches. But my manhood and the need to ease my mind has forced me out to check and see what this up-and-coming lyricist is all about. Arrived at the show at 9:45, had saying these kids are live. We didn't line to pay my fee to take my entrance to this dive. Already performing up on stage, these kids outside spoke truth. The rhyme sayer had the crowd by the balls while up in the DJ booth. Final manipulation is complex in the body with sound. Mesmerized and higher, elevated on the shoulder, I feel like pound. My right side is the right side, connected, accidental. He stared me in my vision and taken, said something about knocking out dentals. Then strided on slowly. I paid no attention to his words, cause pursuing any challenge brought forth at this point would be absurd. I saw no familiar faces in the sea of goatees and baseball caps, which is finally me, cause this ocean is filled with mindless saps. Just then I heard a scream behind me. There was quite a commotion. I felt something tap my back once and then it repeated in this motion. Oh my God, twisting and turning. What's that sensation of burning? Yearning to just witness some spoken words, but now I'm learning. I should have listened to my girl when she spoke up and debated. If I had, then my body and soul would not be separated.
I shed another blood, you knew I would. I feel you should adapt, can't run forever. Trapped, death stepped up to shed another blood, you knew I would. I feel you should adapt, can't run forever. Trapped, death stepped up to shed another blood, you knew I would. I feel you should adapt, can't run forever. Trapped, death stepped up to shed another blood, you knew I would. I feel you should adapt, can't run forever. Trapped, death stepped up to shed another blood, you knew I would. I feel you should adapt, can't run forever. Trapped, death stepped up to shed another blood, you knew I would. I feel you should adapt, can't run forever. Trapped, death stepped up to shed another. I feel you should.
We are back.
Yeah, it's Appleton Radio Show, and we got Alias in the place. We've been talking about, all kinds of things stemming from Hollis to Portland to Oakland, stopping in Minnesota, all kinds of things going on. And that track that we just played, you had told us, had kind of helped jumpstart Anacon and what you guys were doing out there on the West Coast. Now, delve into that a little bit more with us, because with what you guys were doing a lot of work out there.
Yeah, so we moved out. We all moved out there in '99. We all lived in. There was 9 of us living in a 2.5 bedroom apartment.
Wow,
which was fun.
To a point, I'm sure.
But yeah, so we moved out there, and things just started taking off from as soon as we got out there. Basically, I remember we moved out there, and that next weekend we did 3 shows. So coming from Portland, where I did probably 3 shows in a year, to 3 shows in a weekend, because it's San Francisco, and then there's all these other outlines, San Jose is super close. So we did a show, and I remember the first weekend we were there, I did a show in San Jose, a show in Stockton, and a show in Walnut Creek, or some of these out of the way places.
Just getting your feet wet early.
Yeah, but Soul had already been he worked at this internet startup company called Listen.com, and so he had already figured out MP3s in 1999, and so people weren't really knowing about MP3s that much, and so he just put up a bunch of songs to download for free. And so when we moved out there, we started doing shows. There were these kids who had already downloaded the songs and knew the words to them, so they started the first weekend I was out there, I'm performing a song of mine that these kids already knew the words to.
That's crazy.
And it's absolutely insane.
And you're all the way across the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It was a complete night and day situation, as opposed to living out here and not really doing any shows, and then going out there and having. I mean, the crowds weren't swarming us or anything, but just to look at someone and see them singing back the words that hasn't even been released on a CD or anything. Right. It was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but before we get too far into the current day, I want to ask a little bit more about Deep Puddle Dynamics, because I know a lot of people really appreciate that album. I know I do. A lot of people sweat that one.
Cool.
Yeah, as far as the recording process, so you said you guys tried to come up with specific concepts for all the songs.
Yeah.
Was that a collaborative effort where you guys would all literally be in the same room, sitting there writing at the same time?
For a few of the songs, we did 4-way calling and talked to each other on the phone. This was before I had even met Slug or Dose. We were just kind of coming up with ideas for what topics we wanted to talk about, or what sort of approach that we wanted to take. And so we kind of came up with ideas, and we each wrote verses. I remember I was writing verses for one of the songs I wrote. Which one? Oh, the candle song. There's a song where we each talk about being a different part of a candle.
Yeah.
And I remember I wrote my verse for that and thinking, man, this is dope. I can't wait to record this. Everybody's their heads just gonna explode, and it's gonna be so dope. And then I recorded it, and I remember I was in the booth, and I had the headphones on, and everybody else was upstairs listening while I was recording, and they were I was like, how did that sound? And then they pressed the talk back button, and Soul was like, well, those are some kindergarten rhymes, man. You might want to rewrite that. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, man, I think you could do something better than that. And so I was really mad. So I went outside. I bummed a clove cigarette from Gel, and I went outside, and I started writing my verse again, and then went back and re-recorded my verse. And it was I don't know, they were all really... just having that energy or whatever, to have them say that was really pushing me, because I was already nervous to be around them anyways, because they had all released music on like CD and vinyl. I hadn't released anything, and I was kind of the dude that was along for the ride, so it was
Right.
like kind of nerve-wracking, but it was dope to have that kind of energy pushing you to want to be better or whatever. So
Yeah. Is there was there any ever talk of like a follow up or anything? Like, I don't know, that album does kind of seem like one that people kind of caught on to slowly over time, but
yeah,
at the
people talk about it a lot too. Like
Yeah.
they always ask like why, or like if we're ever gonna do another one.
Yeah.
And even to this day, like people will be like, "Oh, when's another Deep Puddle Dynamics album gonna come?" And I mean, even at this point, I mean, especially at this point, but even a few years after it was released, like to try and replicate that energy and like that
Right.
vibe or whatever would be impossible. And I think that everybody else, like Soul, Dose, Slug, and I, all Slug especially, all sort of went in different routes with our music. And
Right.
I mean, he's king of this indie hip hop at this point, and
Yeah, definitely.
for him to for us to be like, listen, Slug, that verse where you talk about being the center of an Oreo cookie, you should probably rewrite. That's just not gonna like that. I mean, and it wasn't even that. Like Slug wasn't on some "I'm bigger than you" sort of thing. It was just like to try and recreate that, or it just, I think it would have felt fake and kind of forced, and I don't think it would have worked out. So we kind of just let it do its own thing. And
do you stay in contact with Slug and the rest of the
yeah,
guys?
I talk to all those dudes. I mean, fairly regularly. Like I'll email Slug, but we don't talk about music. We talk about like tiling our bathroom floors and stuff like that.
Right.
Because he bought a house recently, but yeah, I mean it's all cool. Like there's no beef or anything. It's just we didn't want to try and cheapen the first go around or whatever.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. And then so your first solo rap album was The Other Side of the Looking Glass there.
Right.
And talk about that a little bit. So did you write that when you were in Oakland, or was that something you had been working on when you were still in Maine, or?
Yeah, I had started writing a little bit when I was still in Maine, but I scratched everything but one song and just kind of started over again when I got out there, because I would my wife had a job where she would work until 5 in downtown San Francisco, and I had this job at Charles Schwab where I had to be there at 6 and I would get out at 3.
Ooh.
So I would have 2 hours. Like I would always ride the train home with her, so I'd have 2 hours to kill. So I would go to, there's this place in San Francisco called the Embarcadero. It's these 4 huge buildings and they overlook the water. So I would just sit there and just write with beats on a cassette Walkman. Totally dating myself right now. But yeah, so I just started kind of writing. I started over and just started writing there, and there were other times where I would write in Oakland. Like I'd just go somewhere and like remove myself from everybody else and just start writing. And
Yep.
But yeah, it was pretty much a fresh start once I got out there. So
Yep. Cool.
And that was 2002, right?
That
when you
came out in
released that?
2002, but I had been working on it from from the point that we moved out there.
Right.
Because we were with this distribution company initially, and we put out the Deep Puddle Dynamics album through them, Soul's first album, Bottle of Humans, and the first Them record, which is Dose and Gel. And all of them sold really well, and we saw no money. So we ended up having to sue them and get the masters back so we could kind of
Re-release
start
them.
over again.
Yeah.
And so there was a little bit of time there where we were like trying to get things back together. So we found a new distributor who we could trust, that we're still with to this day. And but yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah, maybe that. Or should you gotta follow up to that?
It depends what you had queued up there.
Well, because I do have a track off of that called "Jovial Costume."
Okay, yeah.
That I thought we could play since we were talking about the album. But again, do you want to set up the track before we get into it?
Yeah, this was so when I first moved out there, I was like, I got really homesick for some reason, and I was having to live with 8 other people in a 2.5 bedroom apartment, and so this is kind of like, so Jovial Costume was like, you have to put on your happy face and pretend that the person who's eating cornflakes 10 feet away from you at 2 in the morning when you're trying to sleep to go to your day job at 6 in the morning, that you're all right with that. So that's pretty much what this song's about.
All right, let's get into it.
Concentrate on this wave of sound with the grace of falling towers, overpower each percussion hit with a split of personality. I'm growing accustomed to feeling down in the dumps and my tongue is sore and filled with teeth marks. This is sounding all too familiar. Let's change the topic to music. I'm tired of talking, I'm eager to write in the first person point of view. I'm also looking forward to collapsing from it all. I went from unhappy to weirdness to unhappy once again. It's a boring mess of 16 measure sound bites and stretched out lambskin that isn't even mine. I also feel inclined to mention that gut-wrenching feeling will not subside. I ride in the uncertainty lane, constantly biting my nails and glancing at the planes that keep passing over, longing to be on the inside, splitting a soda with the guy 3 seats ahead of me. I didn't say hello, how socially dead of me. How are you? Insert small talk here. Please pass the how are yous. I'm trying to prove a point to the Walking Dead and use my songs as smelling salts to get inside the head, set off some introspect. Welcome to my world of gestures, the aforementioned and lost intellect. Let's play who's got it worse. Please pass the how are yous. I'm trying to prove a point to the Walking Dead and use my songs as smelling salts to get inside the head, set off some introspect. Welcome to my world of gestures, the aforementioned and lost intellect. Let's play who's got it worse. I'm sure to lose, but I'll be a good sport to keep it smooth and act as though I got something to prove to everyone around me, surrounding me with extended fingers. Feel free to curl them inward now, sit and ponder that. I'm tired of the preconceived. Let's all put our emotions on the table. Tell me what you think of that. Okay, how about the next one? My level of concern was left in me. It created more room for the big T, and now that's running low. This skill is gone to the break of those points. Whichever comes first, create a burst, form a joint without bursts. Rehearsed response never hurts but becomes overdone. Let's all put our wax lips on and pretend that we're all having lots of fun for the sake of whoever. Don't get upset and set up something clever to be said to prove a point. Clench down on where it's sore. Laughter and whispers have caused ears to sprout in the back of my head and have me feeling like I'm standing on a trap door. Please pass the how are yous. I'm trying to prove a point to the Walking Dead and use my songs as smelling salts to get inside the head, set off some introspect. Welcome to my world of gestures, the aforementioned and lost intellect. Let's play who's got it worse. Please pass the how are yous. I'm trying to prove a point to the Walking Dead and use my songs as smelling salts to get inside the head, set off some introspect. Welcome to my world of gestures, the aforementioned and lost intellect. Let's play who's got it worse. Upside down. Upside down. Let's play who's got it worst. I keep losing, abusing the things I value most. What's my problem? Well, not to brag or boast, but I can't count the times I've been on the verge of losing the urge to continue this journey into myself. I'm sat down with those who don't have the time to discover their losses. Theirs, not mine. I'm quite aware of where my belongings and my stances. Time to get used to the glances and head checks to myself. And it's time to stop thinking and tone it down for the mental health of the ones on the outside of the window. There's the bright side now. I'll toe over Jen and get out of her side of the bed and somehow smile at the things that usually upset me. Turn that frown upside down. This is a motivational tape for you guessed it. Don't mind me, don't mind me, don't mind me, don't mind me. The Walking Dead and use my songs as smelling salts to get inside the head, set off some introspect. Welcome to my world of gestures, the aforementioned and lost intellect. Let's play who's got it worse. Please pass the how are you? I'm trying to prove a point to The Walking Dead and use my songs as smelling salts to get inside the head, set off some introspect. Welcome to my world of gestures, the aforementioned and lost intellect. Let's play who's got it worse. Please pass the how are you? I'm trying to prove a point to The Walking Dead and use my songs as smelling salts to get inside the head, set off some introspect. Welcome to my world of gestures, the aforementioned and lost intellect. Let's play who's got it worse. Please pass the how are you? I'm trying to prove a point to The Walking Dead and use my songs as smelling salts to get inside the head, set off some introspect. Welcome to my world of gestures, the aforementioned and lost intellect. Let's play who's got it worse.
This is Appleton Radio. Also, just a shout out to Shoop for coming on and hanging out with Alias and Ryan and I, to ask some extra questions, man. We appreciate that.
Hey, my pleasure. It's an honor, honor and a privilege. So yeah, I have a question. So you put out the other side of the Looking Glass, where it's a rap album where you're doing the raps, and then you followed that up. Your next full length was Muted, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Which I think was 2003.
Yep.
And what prompted you to go from a rap album to a strictly instrumental album? Like, what brought that upon?
It was a couple things. 2002, I toured the U.S. and Europe with them, with Dose and Gel, and so it was Dose, Gel, and this dude Dax, who was playing keyboards and triggering samples, and they did their entire album, like in the sequence of the album, live every night with no like computers or backing tracks or any of that stuff. Like they each had like a keyboard stand with tons of gear on it, and Gel just a monster. He's just pounding it out, and so altogether that was probably like 70 or 80 shows that I saw them, and I never got sick of. Like every night I was still just like, how is this happening? Like
yeah. So
just like seeing that and being super inspired, and Dax like letting me, after they sound check, letting me just go up and mess around with his keyboards, because I at that point on that tour, like I didn't have any equipment really. I had an MPC and I didn't have a computer to record on. It was just an MPC basically.
Yep.
And so I was really starting to get into synths, and so they'd do sound check, and then I'd go up and just mess around with his keyboards. And so it was like a combination of that, and I was working on an album with Soul called Selling Live Water, and I was originally supposed to do the entire album, but he ended up like using a couple songs from Gel and a couple songs from Odd No Stom, and so just kind of getting in that like headset of like just doing beats, like because I had finished Other Side of the Looking Glass, and then Soul wanted me to do all these beats, and I was like, all right, cool. So I would just get up in the morning, instead of writing rhymes, I'd make beats, and they were just starting to like come way quicker than writing any rhymes. And so I don't know, like it just felt natural. Like I just started focusing on more beats and kind of like challenging myself to make a song that had no vocals on it to be interesting and hold people's attention.
Right.
And it was also like I was also really I had started getting into a lot of electronic music and a lot of like the stuff on Warp, like Boards of Canada and Aphex Twin and Autechre. I was getting into this dude, Casino versus Japan, like a lot of stuff that was a really big influence on Muted. And so, so it was like the natural thing for me to do. I mean, I look back at it now and it's like, I probably could have done another rap album and like advanced further in my career or something, instead of like, totally veering off and putting out an album and probably confusing some people who listen to my music, but I didn't have any interest in doing another rap album, so I started focusing on what I wanted to focus on, and so so that was, I mean, those are the two big reasons. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, I think that people want to know, will there ever be another Alias rap album?
It's possible, man. I mean, I don't know. I've done a few like guest spots rapping on other people's stuff, and every once in a while I'll like get an idea for something that I could turn into a song, and I'll write down a few ideas for it. So I have a few ideas for songs and stuff, but I don't know, man. I mean, there's an LP album coming out this year that is probably gonna make me want to rap.
Yep.
I'm a huge LP fan. There's an Aesop Rock album coming out this year that I mean, you know, if I listen to those enough, it's possible, man. You know, I mean,
That's good news.
I'm a homeowner and a dad now, so the topics might be a little different. If everybody wants to hear me rap about replacing hardwood floors and stuff,
unclogging a toilet.
If you're on board with that, then come on.
I might be a big fan. We'll see.
Yeah, sign me up.
So after you had started, producing and really sticking to that, you had put out an album in 2006 with a female MC.
Yeah, well, she didn't really rap. She was like a vocalist. She she was a singer and played guitar and really musically gifted.
And that was
Alias and it was Alias and Tarsier, and the album was Brookland, Oakland.
Oakland, yeah.
Because she lived in Brooklyn and I lived in Oakland.
Right, so you swapped the end of each word.
And we were swapping files back and forth. Like, we did like 8 songs before we had even met each other, which nowadays it doesn't sound all that crazy.
Right, but back then.
Yeah, we started working on it in 2004. And that was something that from Muted, like, I had done a song with this dude, Marcus Aker, from this band called the No Twist, this German band that I was a massive fan of. And when I was on tour with themselves, we played in Munich where he lives, and he showed up to the show.
Oh, wow.
And I just started, I was like a 15-year-old girl on TRL. I was just like totally bugging out. And I went up to him with my CD and I was like, hey, I just wanted to give you this. This is my album. And he was like, oh, it's no problem. I already own this album. I bought it when I was in the US. I really enjoy it. And I was just like, all right, cool. Can I get your contact info?
Right, yeah.
And so he and I started emailing each other back and forth a little bit, and I asked him if he wanted to do a song. And so that was on Muted. So we did the song together, and that, like, working with a vocalist is way more challenging than working with an MC, just because you have to pay attention to what the vocalist is doing as far as like pitch and making sure that things are in tune.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I started working on that song with Marcus Aker, I was like, this is some stuff that I've never had to figure out before, but I liked it because it was challenging. So she emailed me in the beginning of 2004, and she sent me a few MP3s of her and her boyfriend had a group together called Gila Monster and Tarsier, and I listened to him and I was just like, I loved her voice, and I was like, all right, well, I'll send you a couple beats and do whatever you want to them and send me back the vocals and we'll take it from there.
Mm-hmm.
And so she recorded to him and sent me back the vocals, and it wasn't even over the internet. She sent them to me via FedEx. So that I was sitting there drinking coffee one morning, the doorbell rang, I go and open it up, and it's this FedEx envelope with a CD in it. And so there was a little note on it, and I popped it in and dropped it into my computer, and it matched up with the beat or whatever, and I was just like blown away. And so I started working on that song at like 9 a.m. I finished it at 6. Emailed her. I was like, you need, like, as soon as you read this email, give me your phone number because you and I have to talk. And so she sent me we talked a little bit, and then we just kept sending files back and forth, and we finally finished it in 2006 because I was touring like constantly. I was always like, I would only get to work on it chunks at a time. So, but yeah, so that was
We have one of those tracks too, as I would love to point out. Maybe we should get into that. It seems like a perfect time.
All right.
This was actually, I don't think you gave me the name of this track.
This one's called Last Nail.
All right, set it up for me while I actually tag it.
Okay. So this is one where she had talked about doing a song about like having friendships kind of dissolve. And I had that happen a couple times after living in Oakland, so I was like, all right, I can definitely write something about that. So I wrote. So this is the only song on the album that I rap on, but that's pretty much what this song is about. So she did all the vocals and played piano, and then I made the beat and rapped on it. So.
All right, cool. Well, here we go, man. Last Nail.
Appleton.
Appleton.
Rap night.
Once our voices forged, and once our hands collided to make the whole. But now you use your mouth, use it to break this and vanish, never to know it again. Disjointed voices wiped out like an ash print in the rain. You vanished, drove that final nail in your erased and unfamiliar vanished, never to know it again.
I go, away I go. This was a cry of pure despair. Farewell.
I thought about listening, but couldn't bring myself to it. The blurry frame pictures of remember when's always roll in my head after the 6. Staring out the open window, waiting for one to burn out. But your path has already been chosen to fill a void in an endless emptiness. That is the 17-year-old why keep we've all grown, I suppose. I drop 1 or 2 X's off the shirt, but can't take the free feelings. Used to think we changed the world, now I'm just happy to wake up and drink coffee in my apartment. Thought at some point we'd reach the same butter at Denny's, but now I'm rambling in my overbearing obsession with my past. It's taking up too much of me, so here I'll be adding notches to my lost friend count. You too have become a broken advocate. Some of them will frequent Christmas parties of co-workers for the rest of their careers, and some will still be feeling uncomfortable and self-conscious, and some will be spinning through all the what ifs in their head. Then again, I could be wrong, but who will have no kids staring, wearing anarchy t-shirts bought from censors gifts, and who will get to return to a loved one with no baggage? Guess I'd rather run the course and not to be in your predicament. Guess I'd rather run the course and not to be in your predicament. Guess I'd rather run the course and not to be in your predicament. Guess I'd rather run the course and not to be in your predicament. Mints.
One last name.
We are back. OD in the spot. Alias in the spot. That was Last Nail with Tarsier. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. Word.
Definite. And it's been really good being able to talk with you about things that you've been doing over the whole course of your career, and how successful you've been being a Maine-based artist and coming from here. As I was saying earlier, it's really inspiring to a lot of us that are doing it now. And as of recently, you've also you've done your first show in 3 years locally.
Yep.
Just recently, about a month or two ago.
Yep.
And you've also had some recent production credits as well.
Yep.
One in particular was a remix on the Trails album.
Oh,
Trails.
yeah.
And just personal question from myself: where was it that you had really got the idea of remixing that particular song? or
Is that right? Is this right?
Is this wrong for me to? Am I not touching? Am I not?
Nah, I mean, I'll talk about it. I think there's I'll put it this way: there's certain people. Well, okay. First, I'll preface it by saying that Sin and the Lin are like my homies.
Homies,
Like,
exactly.
I've known Sin the Shaman since
He was like 13,
Yeah. And the Lin I met, I knew about him before I moved back, but I met him right when I moved back. We went record digging. It was me, Mayo, Matt, DJ Matt Young, and I all went record digging, and I just bonded with him. And he's just a super nice dude, and I love his beats. And
bangers, definitely.
Yeah, disgusting. And so when they started talking to each other, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to hear what you guys do together. And then Josh started sending me some of the beats or some of the songs, like demos of them, and he sent me that song. He sent me the song that I remixed, and so I'll just say this: that there are people in the Portland scene who are incredibly negative, and there are other people who are incredibly positive that do a lot and who are genuinely interested in growing the scene. And I think that is, I think that's dope. So I just wanted to put my fingerprint on that song. Like, I think it's dope that you guys do this show every week. I think it's dope that Nate and I do rap night every Wednesday and don't charge more than $3. That to me, like, when I first heard that, how like solid he was on not changing that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's dope, man. That's dope. He knows what people want to do. He knows what's going to get them through the door to see music. And it's not about money or fame or any of that stuff. Like, it's just, he's doing it because he likes it. And you guys are doing this because you like it. And so when he sent me a bunch of those songs and I heard that song, I was like, oh man, I gotta put my finger on this, because
definitely
this is, it's dope. And I like the subject matter.
Yeah, well, and it was a great addition to the album. The Trails album, I feel like, had a lot of success locally when they first released it, and that song had a lot of hype around it as well. So to not only be a good song in general and a passionate song, but on top of that, you get a remix from Alias. You know what I'm saying? It's like here's
a 3 for 1, really.
Yeah,
maybe even a 4. There may be 4 things I like about that whole operation. I'm not sure.
Indeed. But as far as other than that, recently, have you been doing anything else as far as collaborating with more MCs? We know you did the B. Dolan project.
Yeah.
And that was, 2010?
Yeah, we worked on that from like the end of 2008. It took a while to get that album done. But I haven't done too much collaborating, mainly because in 2010, my wife and I had a daughter, and that kind of took some time away from music making.
Of course.
And, but I mean, I'm definitely, it's definitely something that I love doing remixes. I love like working with other people. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of like finding the time to be able to tell, because it's like if there's someone who is like still touring and like and doing music is their source of income, and they want me to, you know, produce for them or do whatever. I can't be like, well, oh, sorry, dude, my daughter was sick last night, so you're not going to meet your deadline.
Right.
So, you know, but it's definitely something that you know, she's a year and a half now, so it's not like as crazy as it was the first 3 months, you know? So
Sure.
it's something that, I mean, that's why I did the show, because it was like, you know, I kind of stepped away
hadn't
from
been
it for a
able to.
while. Yeah, I didn't want to, I wanted to focus on her. So, yeah, so it's definitely something that I'm open to doing more often.
Definitely. And other than, you know, the possibility of you putting together some more, you know, rapping tracks and emceeing some more, you know, is there any plans of beat tapes or, you know, more collaborating with more MCs?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm working on another album right now that I'm hoping to have done by the fall. Like, I have a bunch of songs in the works, and that's kind of how my last album, Fever Dream, like I started working on that, and then my daughter was born, and I didn't even turn my music computer on for 3 months, like literally. Like, I went back into my studio and there's a fine layer of dust on my stuff. Like, I didn't touch anything. But it was cool to like come back to that and get like a fresh listen to a bunch of music that I had started. And I've talked a little bit about doing some stuff with Sin the Shaman and the Lynn and hopefully Bread and Alt will get on there too. Like,
I like the sounds of
Be
all
good
that,
to get
yeah.
some more work out from those fellas. Definitely.
Yeah. I heard Sin's been shaking the trees trying to get beats to fall out recently.
But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely down to do remixes, or, you know, right now I'm just in that mode where I'm trying to get another album together. So I've been kind of like starting things and then putting them aside. And
Yep.
I'm gonna come back to them
Compiling.
later. Yeah,
Definitely. And, you know, just as another artist within the scene, and Nate, I'm sure you can agree with me on this, to know that as a serious OG in the main hip hop scene, to know that you're as big behind the progression and the supporting each other aspect as everybody in this room is, because I think, you know, in the last few years, the inflation of people and music and quality music that's coming out, I think it all has a big part in that, and everybody working together and collaborating and expanding. So, you know, it's good to know that you're behind us with
Definitely,
that as
man.
well,
Definitely.
and all about that, because like you said, there's, you know, some areas where people don't want to support and they want to hate and do their own thing, and that's okay too.
Right.
But once you realize that it's a stronger movement when everybody's moving together, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I was saying, like, it's definitely like it's cool, man. It's just cool that everybody is just down to do shows together with each other and keep the drama to a minimum, if at
Yep.
all. And, you know, everybody's just down to support each other, and it's different from what I heard when I first moved back here. Like, I had heard that things were like people were just out for self, and it's dope that it's not like that. Like, I dig it.
Definitely. And I don't think it's something you see often in a lot of hip hop scenes as well, you know.
I don't think you see it in any music scenes really. Like,
Yeah.
I can't speak on any scene besides hip hop extensively, but at the same time, you know, I like, at least locally in Portland, I look at like the rock scene versus like the hip hop scene, and I feel we're much more unified as far as like all being on the same page and, you know, getting on each other's songs and playing and promoting shows together. So
yeah,
it's a good thing.
Of course, and just we've got so much more music to play.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna play the Trails, the Air Mixer remix. So we're gonna play some other stuff too. But yeah, I mean,
we just want to thank you so much for coming through, and we're gonna keep you around if you can stick around.
Yeah, for sure.
We got the show going till 9, so we'll come in. If you've got any main hip hop requests, we'll talk about that in a minute and see if we can plug some stuff in for you.
Okay.
Nate Shoup, thank you so much for being here and being a part
No
of
doubt.
the interview.
Hey, I didn't do much.
Jesse,
My pleasure.
thank you for being here as well. Everybody else for stopping in. OD, KB, J-Jack, JTB. This has been a very good Appleton radio show. I'm very excited about this one. So
Dope. Thanks for having me, man.
of course. And anything else you want to, shout out, MCs you've worked with, anything for us to look out for in the future?
Right now, I don't have anything lined up, but I'll definitely.
Cool. We'll stay updated on all of that.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know for sure.
Definitely.
Get that Fever Dream though. Fever Dream is dope. I was feeling it.
No doubt.
Can we talk about that for a quick second?
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
I feel like
legal.
We do what we want around here.
Yeah, all right. Because I was listening to that, pretty extensively since I grabbed it back in January or whatever, and I feel it is a break stylistically from a lot of your other stuff. Was that a conscious thing, or is that just where you're at now? Did you set out trying to make a different sounding record, or
it kind of progressed. Like there's a lot of stuff in between albums that are kind of like stepping stones that never get heard. They kind of get like tossed away onto a hard drive and never to be seen again. But it was like, I mean, there's definitely like some influence, like lots, like the LA beat scene was definitely all those dudes. I'm really into a lot of those dudes, and it definitely like rubbed off on me as far as like, because for the entire time that I made beats, I always kept the quantizer on, and it was like always like on time all the time,
right?
And so I started hearing these dudes in the LA beat scene and some of these like other electronic dudes like Burial, who had this like sort of shuffling, like out of time stuff that I really dug. So I started trying to mess with that, and it just kind of progressed there. And I started getting songs to a point where I would send them to the Anticon label manager, Sean. I'd send them to him. He'd be like, this is, yes, more of this. So, it just kind of, it's a natural progression, but it's like, it's definitely different from anything else I've done, but to me it's natural, I guess. Probably not to everybody else.
Right.
But yeah, progression's good for sure.
Yeah, it's the goal.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, word. I don't know if I have any of those tracks to line up, but we'll take a look. I don't know if you sent me one of those.
I don't think I did.
And that's the vinyl that I've been talking about getting my hands on, right?
Well, we have turntables, so that won't be a problem.
All right.
We'll work that out.
I wish I had known.
No,
I'll bring some.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get. We're gonna play a few tracks and take a few minutes here to rest your ears from all this. So let's get into that Air Mixer remix. That was off the Trails album. We were talking about it. It's about your mother.
Distortion.
Let's go.
Air Mixer. Talk about respect minds, steadiness in your layups. Listen, you hear voices saying, damn, that's a sucker. Talk about respect minds, steadiness in your layups. Reputation for losing, reputation for losing. Talk about respect minds, steadiness in your layups. Listen, you hear voices saying, damn, that's a sucker. Talk about respect minds, steadiness in your layups. Reputation for losing, reputation.
Yo, what you have to remember, always something on the side. And if you see the shotgun, I'm never fronting on the rise. There's always trash and garbage flowing in with the tide. There's rules to this shit in which you need to abide. And I'm very proud to say I never cheated my way. Only blood, sweat, tears, and torture over the years. It's got me right here, so I ain't going nowhere. So where you at? Matter of fact, I don't know and don't care. Not much for confrontation, but I ain't got no patience. I wanna be wise guys living in their parents' basements. The kind that get free lunch, come back and get seconds. As selfish as they come, I call them scum for the record. And one's for the money that you stuff in your pocket. Sly like a fox, and know people were watching. Every time you get called out, you go the victim route. Like Ray Butch, the one who's doing the digging out. You don't mix, you can't juggle, you can't scratch. You jack all your beats and you don't write a rap. So tell me, what exactly is it that you do again? Stealing profits off of people that you call your friend. Y'all talking, no action. People know you with your flip-flop fashion. Went from hip-hop to dancing. Used to have to stick up for you all the time, but I leave that job for whoever's next in line. Cause it's not just me, man. You lose mad friends. No, it's not just me, man. What you say, how you act, that make people act the way they do. Around you, motherfucker, it's you. This whole time it's been you. Around you, motherfucker, it's you. Air mixer. Honestly, I never thought I'd have to write another song about fake friends. Apparently I'm wrong. Again, story never ends. There's always somebody whose life is a lie. Attempt to infiltrate, they try to use you. This may be news to those who buy it. Sign up to get on it just to find out he's lying. As soon as I spy him, I'ma kick him in the jelly bean. If you've seen this dude's head, you know what the hell I mean. I'm hella mean, but it makes sense. A big head, a big ego. Can't believe we used to be amigos. And every time I say your name, people make this face like something that they ate. Just gave them a bad taste. Sad waste for no talent. Can't live up to your hype, you sleep your life away. Cause you stay up late every night, quote unquote working. The only thing that you've been working is mad games and madness. Some underage ass with an elk on your foot. Ain't a moped to boo. You got more STDs than some crack whore who shoots man whore. It's sin, man, and I demand war. Nothing changed, nothing new. I still give it to you raw. All talking, no action. People know you with your flip-flop fashion. Went from hip-hop to dancing. Used to have to stick up for you all the time, but I leave that job for whoever's next in line. Cause it's not just me, man. You lose bad friends. No, it's not just me, man. You lost one again. When you realize that it's the things you do, what you say, how you act, that make people act the way they do. Around you, motherfucker, it's you. This whole time it's been you. Around you, motherfucker, it's you. Air mixer, you know you like a lip syncer. Fake motherfucker, I know you can't stand it.
Movers, building cities in the desert, cities in Antarctica, cities on the moon. Bulldozer, backhoe, hard hat, harvester, rough gets smooth. Everything can move, they got just the tool. Everything can move, got a foreman in the crew. Everything can move, got a union too. Everything can move, the earth movers, they rule. Development, settlement, sharp eyes, dissect space and time with the measurement of lines. Divide dots and plats, plot the map, plant the flag, drop the marker like that. Got plenty, property, proper, documents, safety, goggles, privilege, hard hat, thick skin, dig in. We are the architects, view the blueprint, never stop to rest. Never mind the mess, we're going to Mars next. Father of the projects, God complex. Let there be light, how large is your obelisk? It's a contest, watch this. Mountain from a molehill, mountaintop removal. Terraform, irrigate, excavate, level grade dam. It's hydroelectric, it's your boy Pipe Player Bob sledding through the desert. Fucking up the sandbox since I was 7. Tonka toy, permanent permit for demolition. Flatten every surface, destroy difference. Grease the commission just to keep the wheels spinning, but listen. We were born with permission. They see the vision in our clear blue eyes. Air conditioning the ice cubes, chilling poolside. Come to Jamaica, come to Dubai. Got a new mayor, cleaning up crime. Got a snow machine, you can ski anytime. Not a cloud to be seen in the dome of the sky. Reshape Parliament to North Manhattan. Wake up on the reservation like what happened. Sleep to the sound of a chainsaw massacre. Wake to the sound of a dump truck backing up. Back that thing up. The earth movers, building cities in the desert, cities in Antarctica, cities on the moon. Bulldozer, backhoe, hard hat, harvester, rough rough gets smooth. Everything can move, they got just the tool. Everything can move, got a foreman in the crew. Anything can move, got a union too. Earth movers, they rule. Go macro, economical meltdown. New threat set to keep a populace spellbound. Upset, stressed out. Everyone's depressed cause their work is worth less now. Somehow it's stabbing, it must be magical. Break me off a piece of that inflatable capital, let's get down. The party doesn't stop till the bubble pop. Who the hell is trying to tell us we ain't but the rock right now? It's quite clear, the nightmare is right here. Lights out. Party's over. Go home. Oil on the water, world going under. Weather's getting hot. Welcome to the summer. Oil on the water, world going under. Weather's getting hotter, baby. Welcome to the oil on the water, world is going under. Weather's getting hotter. Welcome to the summer. Oil on the water, world is going under. I'm not an activist, just an uncommon glitch in the fabric. Hacking system, the bits incompatible with the status quo. Unpredictable shift in your data flow. Free radical misfit since way back when we kept up on zip dicks to vibrate their hips with. We stay up and electric to the big switch flips that shut it all down. There's no time for boredom or fucking around. It's just a message to assorted inventors. You better start up your circus. The circus is in town.
This is a man-made disaster.
Meanwhile, two sides of the same fake smiles and lie on the TV, but the people can tell. We smell that bullshit from a mile away. We know that freedom isn't something you can sell. Black pin on your lapel, I'll spit on that and all that it entails. Drives, bombs, cops, jails. Under surveillance, but they're on your side. Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide.
Yeah. Appleton Radio Show. It's been a great night in Maine hip hop. Talking with Alias. So many important characters rolling through. We're gonna keep it moving right now with Ill by Instinct, El Chupacabra, This is off the Moonrock CD. They'll be doing beats tonight. I think we have a public service announcement from Mr. Ill by Instinct.
Appleton. Yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up to make sure you check out the newest issue with Dispatch Magazine. I told you last week, but I want to remind you again. Make sure you pick that up and check out the review of the new record, Second Wind, as well as the featured album review, Educated Advocates, Back to Class. Definitely a must-have. Get a cheap frame somewhere, put it up on the wall. It's free. And Appleton Radio every week, Rap Night every Wednesday.
Rap Night.
You know how it is. 206 to the 207. Shout out to Blowductions. Check out the little shirts out there. Let's get into it. Peace.
Appleton. No line is safe to touch.
The hopeless drudgery of the mediocre, trying to meet my quota before the week is over. We the growers, reaping, sowing, beacons, omens, breaking out, sprouting from between boulders, while fish die and birds drop mid-flight. Well, that's life. The curse spawn of sick minds, disguised mad. Why is that fool golden while the wise crack and the rules are broken? Shooting old scarecrows with bows and arrows, make a getaway in a stolen Camaro. Seize today, ain't no better tomorrow. Life's an old soul who strolls with the scepter of sorrow. These seconds are borrowed, minutes are stolen. Fish in a bowl, trying to live for the moment amidst the brightly colored rocks and a little plastic castle. Fake trees sway in the breeze, relaxing casual.
Karma as I ponder what's next on the left monitor. I'm left wondering inward, tunneling into the abyss that exists in me. Blissfully twisted the definition of history to what they didn't see. The underlying death-defying stunts I'm trying to supply the silver lining, break the binding, take the findings and escape to the horizon, safe from the tyrants who plague us with silence. How can you replace the inadequacies and shortcomings? Lost voices of the ones who had no choices. Cauterize the wound up, one drop of blood. I'm too strong for you to call my bluff. Muscular, something for nothing, the ugly cousin. Starstruck, stuck accustomed to the costume. Perfumes, pure mood, lure you into a horrible portal. Cabin fever, I'm in need of a porthole. Sore throat, battle wounds from the Black Lagoon. They're all gonna laugh at you, stop the attitude. These kids are square like quadrilateral. I'm taking you back a few past curfew, late night rendezvous. I write a song or two, I got great expectations. Back to elation, you can suspend the faking and check the next station. I'm left waiting and question. More moves, more money, more booze, more money. Fuck you, love me.
Oh, yeah.
Appleton.
Said yo.
Rap night.
Rap night.
We can reason with this beginning, a concentrated effort. We can see if we can place somebody's on every record or quack. Flying for the stars, accepted to guide. The only stable fucking thing in my life that ever held a job. Stop the home invasion, and stop participating. Whole entire nation, and that's motivating. Yeah. Hello, microphone. We'll try to survive, but it doesn't realize that it's not really alive. Feeling bustin' with the my shoes on, with the big fist. About to get my punch on. Not writing any wrongs tonight. Somebody gonna die, if somebody gonna lose their life. But inside of a fairy tale where the innocence is straight to hell. Falling off now, I fell. Closing in my world like I was a chemtrail. Come on. Hello, microphone. We'll try to survive, but it doesn't realize that it's not really alive. Hello, microphone. We'll try to survive, but it doesn't realize that it's not really alive.
It rests on 13 acres of earth, over the very center of hell.
A look into the final, maddening space between life and death.
We can reason with this beginning, a concentrated effort. We can see if we can place somebody's on every record or quack. Fighting for the stars, accepted to guide the only stable fucking thing in my life that ever held a job. Stop the home invasion, and stop participating, whole entire nation, and that's motivating.
To avoid fainting, keep repeating. Take as much as you can.
Bustin' with my shoes on, with the big fist. About to get my punch on. Not righting any wrongs tonight. If somebody gonna die, if somebody gonna lose a life. Inside of a fairy tale where the innocence is straight to hell. Falling off I fell. Posing in my world like I was a chemtrail. Come on.
Hello, microphone will try to survive, but it doesn't realize that it's not really alive. Hello, microphone will try to survive, but it doesn't realize that it's not really alive.
Yeah, you know, it's a happy beat. It's what it is. Insert Appleton bomb here. Not dead yet. Waters aren't safe just yet. Maybe a little. A dualistic existence, I try to control synergistic mixture of misfit and whole, intrinsic but different than eating them both. So I tore them into two shoes, ran on my soul. They might wear thin, it's just like it's old, but I stand as a man, Mr. Can, cause I'm grown, got both hands full, still answer the phone. You ask for a hand, you got two of your own, no mistake. My priority ship shape, only shape shift on stage, a mixtape. Rest of the time I'm dead and it's great. Rhymes get written as the free time dictates. Up shit's creek at times, but it's straight. Couple good friends by the side of shipmates. Navigate the waters, aggravating the bitch mate. I can see you're confused, you only knew me as shit face. Something like that. Now
That's a
back to
good
your
point.
regularly scheduled programming.
We're only used to OD shit-faced, and that is some brand new OD bars for us here on the Appleton Radio Show. Not shit-faced, sober bars. But, yo, I want to take this point to let the world know that next week Appleton Radio will not be happening. Don't worry, though, people. You could still listen... You can still listen to Appleton Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the stream. So that's always going for you. And I just want to let you know I'll be in Las Vegas thinking about you all, promoting me and hip-hop on the street, letting everybody know what's going down. You can count on me.
Yes.
As soon as I go broke at the poker tables, that's my plan. But had a great night tonight with Alias. It's getting to the end of the show. We basically probably have like one more track to ride us out. We still have Alias in the building. Thank you again, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And OD over there, tell us something about those bars we just heard. A little snippet track you sent in. What's the status?
Yeah, I got excited about his 16. I haven't recorded one in a minute, but we getting in the studio with Guap really quick, getting in with Jay Karen. There's a lot of things that are gonna happen quickly that needed to happen a long time ago, and I'm just, just not dead yet. Just letting people know I'm still out there. So.
All right. Ghost, any final thoughts? Talk to me.
Yeah, these sesame sticks are crazy.
Yeah, no more snacks in the apple. I broke out some chips and some sesame sticks. We're going nuts.
They're healthy, so I'm okay with it. But
Yeah, 0 calories.
Hey, I just want to say, as you had said, a really great show tonight. So many people stopped by. Thank you very much, Alias, not only for being here tonight, but also your, contributions to the scene and what it's evolved to now. Very important that people appreciate where it's come from. So thank you for that. And other than that, just keep checking out the show. We'll be airing 24 hours a day while JT's on his trip. You guys can tune in whenever and check the latest and greatest in Maine hip-hop. Also, MCs out there that are doing it, just send the tracks in, man. AppletonRadio@gmail.com. We'll play it. You send it. We play it. People hear it. If they like it, they'll want to hear it again. So that's exactly what we want to do for you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, man. So
also, big shout out to the Big Easy for holding us down.
Yeah.
They help sponsor the show. You can go out there anytime this weekend to see local music, and anytime ever, supporting local music for 20 plus years. So big shout outs to the Big Easy, 55 Market Street. And
we'll see you there at Rap Night, which starts basically right now. So that's why we actually end at 9, because we have to go.
Yeah, fuck computers. Get your ass down there.
All Beat Showcase tonight. No Appleton next week. Tune into the podcast. Remember, subscribe on iTunes. It's a lot more convenient. It just goes right to your computer. We'll talk to you next week.
Enough.